Good evening, ladies.
Good evening.
How's everybody doing this evening?
Good.
Wonderful.
Hey. Terez, can you turn yourself a little bit?
Body.
Hey.
Is that better?
You still like sideways.
Like upside down.
Upside down?
Or like right, you know, to the, you're like slanted. Vertical instead of horizontal.
I thought he wanted us to do.
There we go.
There you are. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So if you're on Facebook Live, if you're on the website, if you're on mobile app, YouTube, wherever you are, tune in and give us some hearts, give us some likes, you know, say, hey, I'm here. You know, we're ready to have some fun. We're ready to learn about some cooking. We're ready to learn about some budgeting. So just come on in. We're going to give it a few more minutes before we start. So until then, we'll just have a little girl chat, you know, just until everybody gets in. So how was everybody's day today?
It was good.
It was good. You had a lot of orders and stuff, Zita?
Oh my goodness. Yesterday was the day. That was the day.
Oh, okay.
I was inundated. I'm like, Lord, I thank you for the rain. I needed another umbrella yesterday.
Well, come on, umbrella.
Oh. You need a sous chef? You need a sous chef?
Oh yeah, always. A taster.
Like she
that's
hiring. Listening.
That taster, that's a will of God position. That taster.
Oh yeah, you gotta have.
So that's a yes to the taster. That's a yes to the taster.
Hey, I think I saw you in my neighborhood. You might just be up for the position. I think I may have seen you in the Aldi, right by my house.
Listen.
Yeah.
Where? Okay, listen. What Aldi's, child? Let's
Brickyard. I think I saw you. I wasn't sure if that was you. That's why I was like, oh,
was she looking like Betty Shabazz? We have our own Betty Shabazz here. Come on.
Listen.
Come on, if you are just joining us on any of our platforms, Lifeline Facebook page, Winning Women Facebook page, any of the teams Facebook page, wherever you are, let us know that you are here. Let us know that you are here. We'll get started with our fun talk in about 2 minutes. All right?
All right. Sharetta, what are you doing?
Don't worry about what I'm doing.
I can hear what she's doing.
Ooh.
I'm on Facebook too. I wanted to see everybody and say, hey, everybody.
It didn't work.
Oh yeah, we're getting some comments. Okay, hey, hold on.
How you know?
Hey, Miss Anna.
I look suspicious.
You look very suspicious.
Yeah, LB Vaughn. Hey.
I figured it out. Now,
Yolanda's on here again.
Hey,
come on.
Hey.
Renetta.
Hello.
Katina. Tiffany. Oh, she's on the call too. Pastor Twan, is that your wife or is that you? Because this is a girl's chat.
Right.
We kicking the guys out.
Hey, Tiffany.
Yeah.
Hey, Tiffany.
Vanessa from South, come on here.
Hey,
It's your birthday. Happy birthday, Vanessa.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Vanessa. Lady Vicky, all the way from Monterrey, Mexico is on. Come on here.
Uh-oh.
Sharetta, Mama Vaughn said, where your fur at?
You know she got it.
Don't make her do that. Don't make her get a fur out.
You know she got it.
From right behind her on her chair.
She got it. She got it.
Right.
it right there?
Everyone with the headphones in, what does that do? Does that just help isolate the sound
Yeah.
when you have your headphones in? Ah.
Yeah.
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 I'm
Helps
new to
isolate the outside noise and everything.
Ah.
Yeah. All right.
How
Well,
y'all doing with
ladies,
that muscle memory? Are you getting ready to start? Go ahead and start. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
we gonna start with the muscle memory though. But ladies, are you excited? I thought today was Saturday, but it's actually Friday. But I thank God that it's Friday. I mean, but I am excited for tonight. I am excited to be chatting with you ladies on all of our platforms. I'm excited just to be living. There's so much death around us. There's so much discouragement.
Yeah.
There's so much of everything around us. So I am just excited and thankful to be living. And I know you are too. So tonight we just want to, every week we want to come on and just give you a little bit of fun, because I know we're quarantined, we can't get out, or those of you that are getting out because you're essential workers or doing whatever you're doing, sometimes it's not fun for you to do that because it's work. So we want to just pose or have an opportunity for just girls to chat and have some fun about things that really matter in our lives. So tonight we're talking about cooking and we're talking about budgeting. These are two major things that we as women need to do. So everything we do, we are strategic, making sure that this is something that you can take home and apply. So with that being said, we talked last week, we started with muscle memory. So how many of you put on a bra this since last week?
Well,
Absolutely.
7 days in a week.
I did one time.
One
7
time?
days.
One time.
Okay. I had on a sports bra yesterday, so that counts.
That counts.
That
Oh,
counts.
that's every day.
That's every
Tank
day.
Top Nation. Yes.
So
No.
muscle memory is good. You got to train your tatas how to, act after all of this is over. You don't want them sagging. That's what they say. But, I don't know. I'm just believing God that, mine will act the way they need to act, when they need to act, like they need to act, And then we talked about lemons. How many of you tried out the lemon? I heard some people, or one person in particular, tried out a lime and it didn't really work.
It was
No bueno. No bueno.
Lord, I missed all the good stuff last week.
So if you're on here today for the first time and you missed last week, you can go back on our Facebook page and listen again. So some of this stuff might be foreign, or you might be saying, "Oh, did she say titties?" I mean, I didn't say titties. I said tatas. Did she say tatas? Yes, that's why I said men are not welcome on this video because it's girl chat. But lemons. Kay tried the lemons last week and it worked. Kamika tried the limes and it didn't work. I think we got to follow instructions, ladies. Yanni did not say limes. She said lemons. She didn't mention limes at all.
But aren't they like similar? As a cook, sometimes they say you can kind of sub out. Well, no, that's lemons.
Can you sub out under your armpits though?
Well, no.
Listen, all underarms are not created equal. Nor
So she might have needed to overact like one of them genetically modified lemons with some extra.
No.
Listen, but lemons do work. They do work.
They do.
Work. And then, so that was last week, part of last week. And then Kay, our very own life coach, she talked to us a little bit about how we can get ourselves together during this time. So did you talk yourself back to birth last week, since last week? Did you go back to a point in your life where you were happy and looked in your life to see what made you happy? I want to see, did you do anything with what you learned last week? Because we don't want to just, give you information. We want this information to be helpful, to be useful for you to, follow God and flow in your life. So let us know. I see the lemons. We got, tried the lemons out on my little one. Tiffany that made the little one with the lemon. Girl, you wrong.
But at least it's natural. though,
Started early. Started
deodorant
early.
It is.
Started early.
Like,
But
listen.
she used her daughter as a guinea pig.
But listen, Linda. Real talk. I remember when a child walked past me and she smelled like
Goat.
yum. And it was my child.
Look,
And I was like,
onion.
so at 5, I think, it was 5. And I was like, what? So starting the lemons at 5 is probably better than starting deodorant at 5, right? Y'all need to speak to it.
I strongly agree. I do.
See?
It's all natural.
But then if you try it on the kid, it's not gonna have the same effect on the kid that it does on you.
Tiffany, tell what happened. Why you use the kid?
Yeah, Tiffany, why you put it on your kid instead of yourself? We want to hear from you.
It's not gonna have the same
Anthony Jones, I see you have come on here. We love you, brother,
Anthony.
but this is a girl chat.
Out.
So we're kicking you out.
I just shared it, and I didn't say women only. I should have said that in my when I shared.
Oh,
Okay,
well, we'll kick them out.
She said, listen, if you knew what I knew about her.
Don't put your daughter out there on blast, Tiffany.
This is a private. We here just us.
I know it's just us. Okay.
Lean in. It's
Okay.
just us.
Oh, the sugar, honey, and lemon scrub. That sounds good.
Yeah, Kim said she tried the
Amazing.
sugar, honey, and lemon scrub.
It's
Okay.
amazing. It will bless your life.
All right, come on. But has anybody took the time to sit back and go back to when you were first happy? That's what I want to know. The lemons, that's easy. The whole going back to birth and going back to when you were happy before people started, telling you maybe that you're not good enough or telling you that you're not pretty. Were you able to do that? And if you were able to do that, what are some of the results? And it might not be immediate results. It's a process, but we just want to know, did you take Coach K's advice?
Coach K, I love that.
Yeah.
Coach K.
Hey.
Is it come up and out? Come on.
Hey, are we gonna take selfies while we wait?
Yes.
Let's selfie while we wait. While you get your whole life together.
Tell them how to take the selfies.
Go on, Yanni.
Yeah. You can definitely take a selfie. Take a selfie by yourself and then take it with the screen so you know that you're there. Okay.
Yes.
Or here. I'll say here. Yes.
Yes.
And you can hashtag WW and hashtag LC Winning Women. I got it right this week. Last week.
Let me find out you've been practicing.
Girl, I practiced today. WW Girl Chat and LC Winning Women are the hashtags. Look to see your photos on our news feed. Yeah.
So will their photos show up if they're on private? Like, how does that work?
What was that?
Will their photos show up if their page is locked? Like, how does that work? Do they have to open up their
They need to put it as a public. Put it as
So
public.
on your privacy, when you hit your privacy up at the top, make sure it is public so that we can all see that post.
Correct.
Just that one. Now the rest of them,
Keep
we
the rest
got
of your
more people joining. We got Angie joining. Hey, Angie. Hey, Elder Brina.
Courtney said that means
So
she
she
has
gotta
to
comb
comb
her
her
hair.
hair.
I saw that.
Listen,
Y'all got a lot of requirements.
I have to shave. I have to shave. Lifeline Church, can you please mute yourself? Thank you. I don't want to hear that conversation. Come on. But thank you for being on here with us, helping us out. But my hair was growing out. I had to shave my head 10 minutes before we did that. So Courtney, you got to comb yours if you want to take the picture.
Yes.
So I gotta comb my hair and put a bra on. It's a lot of instructions. And
Well, you ain't got to put no bra on really because you can't nobody see you unless you're doing this.
And she just did that.
You don't want to.
I put a bra on today, to make sure.
Listen. Okay, I got a question on here. What if you did all that thinking and came up with nothing?
Oh, good. That
Okay.
was, I saw that. That was a good question.
You saw that?
I saw somebody ask that
Okay.
one.
I still challenge you. Like last week, we talked about the whole house. So I still challenge you to look at your house, which is you, and decide what's there that you want to keep that brings you joy. So what are the things that, even if you're saying, I couldn't talk myself to birth, or I went all the way back and, nothing really. So then let's do like a self-assessment of what's happening right now. So what is happening that you like, you enjoy, that brings you joy? And then what's happening that you don't really need that? And start to take stock in that and see what gets to stay and what gets to go. And then you'll keep coming back, and we'll talk about it next time. How about that?
Or you can also contact Coach K.
There you go.
Give her your platform again.
You can contact me on Instagram at k.monell, MONELLE. And I'm on here. I just commented, and I'll comment again. So you can follow me on Facebook at K Monell platform. But yeah, definitely
And
take
Yanni?
stock in what gives you joy now. Go ahead, Yanni.
Me?
Okay, they want to know about the lemons again. If you missed last week, let us get some information for you.
Last week, I definitely have like a small blog on my Facebook page, which is Blossom Bell Studio, as well as Instagram, Blossom Bell Studio.
Come on with the blog. Okay, so that was last week. We had so much fun last week, but this week we're going to have even more fun. It's going to be funner. Is that a word? Funner?
Funner.
It's going to be funner.
More
Funner.
fun.
Huh?
Is it more fun?
I said more
Funner.
fun,
I like
and then
funner.
I added funner.
Okay.
I like fun. I like fun. It's,
We make up words.
I like funner.
We make up words, so hey.
We do.
So tonight we have two special ladies on the call with us. We have Terez Jones, and her husband have a YouTube channel. She'll talk a little bit more about that. And then we have somebody, I go way back with her, way back to Judah days. We have Zita Cooks. Come on. So listen. So give them some love. Give them some love. Tell them you're watching, you're listening, you wanna, get the information. It's gonna be exciting.
Yeah.
I have been cooking so much since this quarantine has started that I have started to push the cooking off to my boys. So I have a 13-year-old and a 15-year-old, and they have been cooking up a storm. So I bless God for that. And so I taught them how to cook and clean, bless the Lord, because cooking is one thing, but cleaning is a whole nother beast. So they have tackled both of the beasts, but I want to, both of the beasts, cooking and cleaning. So I want to bring Zita on first. So Zita, just give us first a little bit about yourselves, about your business. We want to make sure that we let everybody know where they can reach you, how they can get some of your good food. She dropped off some food to us maybe last week or the week before last. And I mean, I don't even really eat what she brought, but I ate it for the first time. It was amazing. So just tell us a little bit about yourselves, and then let us know what you want to share with the ladies on tonight.
Okay. Well, hey, ladies, a lot of you guys know me. And for those that don't, I'm Zita Smith. I am the owner operator of Zita Cooks Catering. And it actually was birthed. I've always loved to cook. Like ever since I was a kid, I would watch Jeff Smith and the Frugal Gourmet and all of the shows on TV. And I used to always wonder, like, they would name all these ingredients off, and I never would. I'm like, parsley, mint, all my grandmama got in the cabinet is the little garlic powder and some iodine salt. I never heard of any of these ingredients, so I was always intrigued with food, but I never thought that I would have a career actually cooking until the Food Network came out in 1997. I would never forget. I had basic cable, and it came with my package came with the basic cable, and they had Food Network, and I watched everything. There used to be a show called Food 911. started watching that and fell in love with cooking. Just started Emerald Lagasse and all of these other people, Sarah Moulton. And I just really got into like wanting to try out things. So I would go to the grocery store like right after watching the episode and buy every ingredient and start cooking. But in 2014, after a career shift, I have been in financial services, insurance my whole life. That's why now when people are like, Zita cooks, you know, that's why I love the name of my business, because it's kind of like Zita Cooks Catering is the name of my official name of my business. And people like Zita cooks because it was something that God kind of birthed later in life. Little did I know all those seeds that were planted back in 98 with the Food Network, back when I was 6 and 7 as a single only child watching the Frugal Gourmet. So in 2014, I stepped out on faith on the advice of a friend. She said, bring some dinners up to my job. And I sold out that day. That was the first day of fall in 2014. And it just seemed like I was just riding this wave. People were supporting. People were like, oh, it's about time. You know, you just never know that people are watching you. And so that's kind of how my culinary career began. And since then, Facebook has been a blessing. People that don't even know me was like, I don't know. I said, how did you hear about me? I just saw a burger online and it looked good. And I said, I'm calling the number. I'm like, oh. And, you know, from that, it just kind of grew. And now there's this like, you know, I have a strong, loyal client base and people are seeing me and I'm getting recognition. So it's just a beautiful thing because it was just something that was a passion of mine. And now it has grown into something else. And in 2020, this year, I am coming out with my signature seasoning line. So Terez seasonings and sauces. So that can make your cooking much, much easier when you have everything right there. Yeah, so that's a little background about me.
Cool. Well, listen, you mentioned a couple things that kind of stuck with me. You mentioned, was in 1997 you were watching the Food Network and all of that, and then in 2014 you branched out. So I looked at that to say those seeds were planted in 1997. Over 15 years later, you seeing the manifestation of it. So ladies, if you are on this call, if you are on here, just know when seeds are planted, don't think that they are gone. They can still manifest. Now we want those good seeds to manifest. Those bad seeds, we want to root those out with the word. But don't think it's too late to fulfill the promise of God for your life. It took her over 15 years to come into where she's at now, which is her purpose in life. So let that be a lesson to you. That jumped out for me. I jotting down some notes. Let that be a lesson to you. Never give up. Don't give up. I saw a post Brandy put up, one of our team members, Brandy put up. She said, I think it was a couple of years ago, she was letting the old Brandy talk to the new Brandy, and it was, don't give up. Don't be discouraged. Don't give up. If it hasn't happened right now, those seeds have been planted and it can still happen. That was good.
Is to keep going. And what's so funny is when that happened, and I know we're going to get into the food tips and all of that, but one of the key pivotal things right before I did that, there was a major career upset for me. I mean, I was like so disappointed. I had tried to go back into the job market, the corporate market, after my husband and I had been full-time entrepreneurs for a long time. And I said, well, you know what? I'm going to go get a job in corporate. I had interviewed. They said, no, you're too qualified to work over at this branch. We want you to meet with the top. I mean, I was moving and I was like, okay, Lord, you about to put me back on? Hey, you know, and I'm thinking I'm good. And some laws that had happened in the financial services industry, and I own property. So during the crisis, I had to give up some of that property. And so ended up where they had to rescind my offer. And I was just like devastated because I was like, I thought this was my, you know, my ticket back in, you know, to the corporate world. And I remember sulking at my friend's house and she said, you know what, you should start doing dinners. My sister's doing dinners and delivering them to her sister's job at the post office, you know, bring some dinner. And she literally got out a scratch new envelope and wrote down like, well, charge something real low so that people will kind of, you know, even if they don't want to try it, they'll try it because it's so low. They're like, for a full dinner. And that's how it was birthed. So it was birthed out of a major upset. And so I just want to say to everybody. When things go wrong, and I know during this pandemic, there's so much uncertainty. There's so much, am I gonna keep my job? Is what's gonna happen or whatever? All I know is God's, he does his best in the mess, because I literally.
Hey, type that in. God does his best in the mess. Somebody type that into Facebook.
Yeah,
God does his best.
Like everything is just out of whack. I could not believe, I was so deflated, and it was from that disappointment that God catapulted me into something that now is really my destiny. So
one of the things said that was super cool was that she said she was like one of her girlfriends. You know what I'm saying? Knowing who you connected to, right?
Yeah.
That you can have somebody that when you feel low, they can speak life into you right then. Like, all right, girl, enough with this soaking, dry your face. Let's go. Let's get moving. This is a plan right here. They can see for you. They can see a little bit further.
Girl, wash your face. Is that what it said?
Yeah, girl,
Girl, wash your face.
Put yourself together. Yeah, right.
Two things. One of the things you said is that something bad happened, obviously, and then this came out of that. But did we catch the part where she did talk herself back to birth? She did go back to the beginning, where as a kid, this was what she did. This is what she was passionate about. And then she did financial services. She was in the insurance business. She did all these things. But here's the thing. If you don't make that pivot or make that shift on your own, God will make it for you.
Yeah.
He did, because she wouldn't have chosen it. You didn't choose to cook.
No.
She had to be forced to cook, even though it was her passion.
But everything lined up. Everything lined up, though. Your experience in financial services is pivoting to what you're doing now. It helps. It's all connected.
Which means he uses it all for your good.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Ooh, that's what going back to birth looks like.
I get chills.
Ladies, I don't know if you all are tuning in. I know you are tuning in. That's just a phrase that we use, But we supposed to be talking about cooking, and we talking about purpose and destiny and not giving up. So we are being led by the Holy Ghost, even with our plans. Yes. And something else she said, she, thought she was going back into the market. Lord, this is working out and this is working out. And Holy Spirit just brought up the scripture to me that many are the plans in a man's heart, but it's his plan that will prevail. So his plan is prevailing in her life, because what the enemy meant for evil, God is turning it around continually for her good. And that is good. So it's not just about cooking, it's about the whole process. How did you get to where you are? And what Kay said, she talked herself back. Hey, I used to love cooking. That seed was planted in 97, and now it's just coming into fruition.
And I've made more money in a year cooking than I ever did in corporate.
Wow.
Look at that.
It's crazy.
And it's something you love to do. It's not a toil. It's not a hustle. It's what God made you to do.
I never thought that I could work endlessly and be tired and still feel like, but I don't feel too, and then just that fulfillment. You get that fulfillment, that a job well done. People love it. They enjoy it. So it's just, when you're in purpose, it's a different kind of feeling. Really
they love it, and they're paying for it. Come on.
Come on, somebody. Now.
Listen.
This is some good stuff, y'all.
Listen,
Go ahead.
Vonda on Facebook, she said this is the recipe for success.
Yeah. This is so good, and we are just 30 minutes into this call, and we haven't even tapped part of the surface of what she's supposed to be here for. But actually, no, I'm gonna take that back. We tapped the surface of why she's supposed to be on this call, and what she's about to share now is just a little bit of residue. Right. So the surface of this was, hey, don't give up, stay in purpose. Seeds are planted at a young age, and they come to fruition. Don't give up, ladies. If you are on this call, don't give up, especially during this pandemic. don't give up. Where you thought, January, we say this was the year of vision, this was the year of focus, this was our year. It's still your year.
Yes,
Don't let this pandemic take you out. Take this time to be strategic and hear God so you can flow in life. Oh, this is good. It's good. So Zita, if nobody else has anything on that, just give us a little give us some residue.
Okay, so I don't know if anybody has any specific questions, but some things that I always like to start off, and I know we got some good cooks, some seasoned cooks on this live, but some of the things that I think that daunts people about cooking is I think sometimes you don't have the right tools. And so I wish, and I hope to come back on another time and actually do some cooking demonstrations where we're actually
promote yourself. Come on and promote yourself. Come on, girl.
But I think kitchen staples are key. So like, what are kitchen staples? Making sure you have the right type of pots and pans. Back in the day, I had dollar store pots and pans. That's not going to work. You want things that are weighty. If your pans are light and you can throw them up in the air and juggle with them, that's not the right pot and pan. And I'm not, no shade. Oh,
this
but
is good.
I want to give people an idea of what I mean by, thank you, Pastor London. Heavy pots and pans. Another thing is knives. I hated cooking not hated cooking, but it was a chore in the beginning because I did not have the proper tools. The only knives I had was the kind that came with the thing, and if you had that block and you had them and you just pick out whatever you need.
Wait, so that's bad?
That's not bad. Just make sure they're sharpened. You have to have sharpened. It makes cooking so much easier. Have you ever tried to cut a sweet potato with a dull knife?
Yes.
Yes. You working.
Yes.
Now, Zita, I got those block knives and we got them sharpened and they still not right. I still gotta do too much.
Over with a different. You probably need to get a different brand.
Well, I thought you can hurt yourself too much with a dull knife.
Not get some Ginsu, whatever, but. Or Washtorf, which is a very high quality knife, but get a really, they have a lot of these ceramic knives that are out now that are supposed to be really good. Just anything where the knife is sharpened well. And also the knife should have some weight. So that's how you're gonna know. So your kitchen staples are key because that's gonna help you so much. If you're slicing through, the reason why people don't like cooking and gotta chop and they gotta do all this is because a lot of times those knives are dull, they can't cut through the meat, but when the knife is sharpened, you can just go right on through. It makes you save on time, save on energy. Another thing, pantry staples. I think a lot of times cooking can be daunting if we don't have the right type of seasoning. So these are my pantry staples. I think every kitchen should have these basic like seasonings. Now you can add from there kosher salt or pink Himalayan salt. I'm not really a big fan of the iodized salt. A kosher salt, a little bit goes a long way. You can use less. Iodized salt is more for the table, but if you have a good quality kosher salt like the Morton's, kosher salt is really good. Garlic powder, onion powder, dried basil.
Hold on. All right. I think they right.
Go back and watch it, Pastor Linda. Go back and watch it.
Go. I think people are writing. I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes. Okay, so you said the kosher salt. You said the garlic powder, onion powder,
basil, dried. These are your herbs: dried basil, dried oregano, dried thyme, lemon pepper, a good lemon pepper. Where you can kind of see almost like the lemon grain was a good one. Not because some of them, they're just all salt. It's not a really good quality lemon pepper. And then here are my two sleeper ingredients that will change your pantry life forever.
Come on, give them to us.
Come on a little close. No, just kidding. Chicken
bouillon
powder. Chicken bouillon powder. Chicken bouillon powder. The bouillon cubes. A lot of people use the bouillon, but chicken bouillon powder. Do I have any witnesses out here to the chicken bouillon powder? People sleep. They're sleeping, but we on the chicken bouillon. But that's a key ingredient. And then also ground fennel. And I think my girl Serena can attest to that ground
I
fennel.
was gonna say, I knew you was gonna say that.
That's awesome.
I know I
changed
can
my
put it
life.
on now.
I didn't know, Zita. I didn't know it changed my life.
What is
though.
it do?
Man.
So what fennel is the seeds that are in like sausage, like Italian sausage, or like that you sprinkle on pizza or whatever. Those seeds are fennel seeds. But what most times we eat them as seeds, they put them in, but they ground the seeds into a powder. And that powder has it's just a savory flavor that just upgrades anything that it's like amazing. It's like putting a bay leaf in something. When you put a bay leaf in like some beans or pot of beans, that's another. Let's add bay leaf to the mix too. But ground fennel is so good, and I use it every time. I don't care what kind of cuisine I'm cooking. I don't care if it's Mexican, Mediterranean, whatever. I keep a little ground fennel. And what I suggest that everybody do is just take a little bit of all of these ingredients, because a lot of times with cooking, what daunts people is I got to pull out this. I got 30 million seasonings, and when I started cooking, that's what I was doing. I was like, okay, I'm gonna put a little onion powder, a little garlic powder. But then take those ingredients, get a little container or a bowl or something you can put with a lid on, and mix all of those seasonings. And I can share like a ratio mix that you can do. And then when you're cooking, you just take from there and season with that. And so that cuts down on your cooking time. You ain't got to worry about taking all those seasonings out of the cabinet. So that's your.
Just wait for your seasoning to come out.
Wait,
Huh?
what you say?
Just wait for your seasoning to come out.
Right.
Yeah, or wait for mine to come out. But when the oil is on it, it ain't gonna be the same anyway. But before mine though, I think that's a good, if you don't want to do that. But these are pantry staples that I think while you're at home and you're cooking that you want to have. Olive oil, a good quality oil, olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil. These are all healthy oils. We really should be staying away from the vegetable oils. I don't even really use canola oil that much anymore unless I'm like frying something. But for the most part, a quality oil, people don't realize you can taste that in the food. And so those are things that I think you should have in your fridge. Soy sauce, a little rice wine vinegar, sesame oil. These are things, so when you're making Asian type style dishes, these are things you'll buy them one time and you'll have them forever. So don't think like, oh, I got to buy all this stuff. But if you're trying to cook something real quick and you already have this, all you have to do is now go get your protein, your chicken, your shrimp, whatever, and some vegetables, some fresh vegetables. You should have rice in the house, some pasta of some sort already in the house, a can of diced tomatoes, cans of diced tomatoes, things that makes your job easier. So when you go into the grocery store, you're like, hey, if I'm trying out a new recipe, I don't have to worry about that because I know I got soy sauce, I got my rice wine vinegar, I got my sesame oil. And another one for Asian that's really good, especially if you like Thai type flavors like curries and things like that, keep a can of coconut milk, and it's something called fish sauce. And you'll have it forever. A little bit goes a long way. And it just kind of zhuzhes up your food. So those are, and fresh garlic. Always keep you some fresh garlic. Now, people gonna be mad at me when I say this, but I really am not a fan of the minced garlic in the jar.
That's what I have.
And I see like professional chef, like I see really good cooks use the minced garlic. It's a whole different flavor. When
you can taste the difference.
Yes, you can. It even looks different. When you look at it in the thing, and you chop up a fresh clove, and it's like white, and it's and when you see it in that jar, it's just it's not the same. And so
it's yellow.
I would highly recommend, and even if you don't like peeling the cloves, they have them where they come in the jar already peeled. Those are your best bet. Oh, kitchen staples. A chopper for the kitchen staple. Add that because that helps on time. Nobody wants to. A lot of times your chopping skills might not be the best. it could be a handy dandy chopper, or if you want, invest in what we call a food processor. You hit it, pulse it a couple times. Now you got your nice dice, you know. So the only time you should really be using a knife is if you're slicing vegetables. But you can do your garlic with that as well. Throw some cloves in the food processor or the chopper, pulse it, and there you go. Does anybody have any questions before I go on? Because I don't want to take up time from
Terez.
Question.
Lord help me.
I have a question. Are they all equal? Like, because you know you can go to the dollar store and have a good time with seasoning. So like, are they all equal, or should I be buying the $9 seasoning?
I don't think you should. They're not all created equal, but what I always say is just look on the back. If it's garlic powder, it should say garlic powder. It shouldn't be like garlic powder, salt, other additives. That's when you know it might be salted out. And then like things like, a lot of people have things like garlic salt and, you know, this kind of salt. I feel like if you have your kosher salt, you have your garlic powder, there is your garlic salt. So using things like garlic salt, and it's just adding more sodium. And of course, we don't need all that additional sodium. You've got your nice, good kosher salt. You've got your garlic powder or your fresh garlic, all the extra things. Even like a lot of these seasoning blends, like when I see things like Cajun season, make your own Cajun, because if you got all these ingredients that I named, you can make your own. When you go on the back, it's like monodextrose. They put a lot of like solidifiers and fillers in it. It's not pure seasoning. It's like mainly a whole bunch of salt and some coloring. And so if you want to make a Cajun seasoning, cayenne pepper, thyme, garlic powder, a little kosher salt, black pepper, ground fennel, you know, and boom, you got a blackened seasoning. You got a Cajun seasoning right there.
Gotta go back and write that down.
Yeah, so
questions here.
a lot of times you buy these things and some of this stuff can be expensive, but if you just have these in your cabinet, you've got the seasonings, the base that you really need to start cooking. Because I think flavor.
No, that literally just happened to me like 2 days ago. I bought this like Weber Cajun season. I look on the back, it's cayenne, like black pepper, garlic powder, onion powder. I'm like, I have this already. So why did I buy this? But no,
because it's already together and you could just sprinkle. But if you just make you a little batch or purchase mine.
Right, exactly. Somebody asked where they can purchase your seasoning.
Well, for right now, you can contact me directly. You can leave a message on my Zita Cooks catering page at Zita Cooks on Facebook, or on my personal page. You can send me a message in Messenger, and then we can process your order that way. But the official launch is coming soon. You'll be able to buy online. You'll be able to purchase online. And we're coming out with the signature seasoning, which is the base seasoning. You can put that on pretty much, you can put it on a shoe. I have testimonials where it really is a good quality, flavorful seasoning, and it saves you so much time. And people get excited about cooking, especially like singles who is just them. They're not cooking for a big, large family. Men love it because they know, hey, it's like it give them a little confidence. They got that seasoning. They like, ooh, I got the cooking, you know, I got the magic wand or something. And they start cooking. And so it's really, really, it's really good.
Now, I wrote down all of the pantry staples that you said, and you said we can make our own seasoning and everything. And you also mentioned about the measurements and stuff. Can you kind of, even if you don't do it now, can you kind of give us the measurements? Because when I follow recipes, so if it says 1/4 teaspoon, you know, I follow to the letter. So if you can do that.
Yeah, I will send that. If I can send it later, but really the key is ratio. Your biggest things, your kosher salt is kind of like your base. Then you have, so you may have, depending on how much seasoning you want to make, that's gonna, like, if I had this container, my kosher salt is gonna fill the bottom of this container. And then everything else, I'm adding tablespoons of garlic powder, tablespoon of onion powder, tablespoon of chicken bouillon powder. And then the other seasonings, your basil, your oregano, your thyme, your lemon pepper, do a teaspoon of those. And then just mix. And you just mix it. And then if you're doing Mexican, you could take that base seasoning and then add a little cumin.
Somebody mentioned, I was gonna ask you, somebody mentioned cumin being a good seasoning too.
Yeah, cumin is definitely a great seasoning if you're going like the, so I wanted to give you kind of just a base to start with, but cumin, if you wanna go Mexican, wanna go Southwest, you can add a little bit of, I like adding dried mint and a little bit extra oregano if I wanna go Mediterranean, go in that direction. If I'm going Cajun, I wanna add a little paprika or smoked paprika. That's a sleeper. That smoked paprika, it just adds a different little thing to it. So smoked paprika and some cayenne. Now, and a little more black pepper and a little extra thyme. Now we're moving over into our Cajun blackened. But if you have that base is all you need, and then you can build
about that base.
Yeah, yes. Kelly Charles asks, is there a certain brand of knife you like, Zita?
I don't have a specific brand because I use the various ones. I just make sure that I get them sharpened on a regular basis. So I've gotten Walmart knives. Like there's been times I've left my knife at a catering job where I was cooking on site or, and just left it. I've run to Walmart and gotten a nice butcher knife. So you want to have say that again? I think somebody said KitchenAid is great. That's a good brand. KitchenAid is great. Yeah, KitchenAid is a good brand. I had KitchenAid knives. KitchenAid is good. Anything that's going to be, the price is not going to be too expensive, but somewhere in the middle. If it's real cheap, and like again, you can touch the knife and pick it up, and you'll be able to know if it's a quality knife.
I have a quick question going back to the seasonings. I don't really add salt to my food or eat anything processed if I can avoid it. So do you have like a salt substitution? Like if you're missing salt, what is something that maybe you can add to boost the flavor, or do you just increase the ratios of the other things?
Well, you would increase the ratios of the other thing. Another thing you can also, that Mrs. Dash is amazing. That's a good one. It's like a mix, or you can just buy, they have like dried green peppers, dried lemons. You can add more of those. If the chicken bouillon powder is enough, that has a little bit of kind of a flavor to it. So it's kind of salt in a sense, it's sodium in a way. That can maybe a low sodium chicken bouillon powder, use that. But yeah, just I would say increase those herbs, and then marinating your meats like in lemon juice to kind of tenderize them. But yeah, that's the route I would go.
We all gotta watch the replay.
Yeah. Now I think going back to those knives, I think I know the reason why my knives are not sharpened. We've had those knives. I think that was a wedding present, 25 years ago. And I've had them sharpened like one, so I think that might be it.
Yeah, that may be it.
You might need a new set of knives, friend.
Okay, one thing we got a couple more things with Zita, and then we want to go to Terez. But you mentioned some people talked, or you said, "How did you hear about me?" And they said, "Well, I saw a burger online," and I said, "Let me just click it because it looks good." Tell us all about plate presentation, how to do that, how effective is that? Because I was telling the ladies last night, for me, that's not my Estee forte. I just cook and, pastor plates everything. But tell us the importance of plate presentation.
Well, I mean, people like kind of eat with their eyes first. So anything you're making, most people, they eat with their eyes first. So how something looks, it's always good. If it look like it tastes good, because there's some things that don't look that good, but it'd be fine. But how would I ever know if that our first glance, it's not looking too good. One of the things is using fresh vegetables. I think the key is your ingredients. The plating and where you place the ingredients is going to be not as important as what's more paramount is the actual ingredients. So like if I have some asparagus, I don't want to boil my asparagus down to, actually you don't want to boil asparagus at all. That's not my preference. You want to keep the freshness and the crispness. A lot of time when you add water to when you soak vegetables in water, a lot of those nutrients come out in the water. And so things like asparagus or green beans, you want to keep that freshness. So that bright green on the plate is automatically gonna pull someone in. So I would say first, make sure you're using fresh ingredients and you're not overcooking or cooking them down or cooking the nutrients out of the vegetables till they become mush. You want your vegetables to kind of have, like if you're sauteing some zucchini in some olive oil, you want to make sure that it is, once you saute it, like it doesn't have to be sauteed very long. If it starts to get translucent and that zucchini is over with, it's best when it has a little bit of bite to it. And so starting with, your colors, your nice fresh colors. I love cooking with peppers. I think that's a good additive. And then, because I'm not a big presentation kind of girl myself, I think good food is going to look good. If it's cooked properly, you got all those nice herbs and spices, even like with chicken, don't be afraid to drizzle that olive oil on the top and let it get that crisp, that nice roastedness. A lot of times people don't cook at high enough temperatures. Like, so if they roast something, everything, I was taught, my grandma put everything at 350, 325. Sometimes you got to get that heat up to 425 in order to get that nice roast. Now you don't want to burn it, but it gives you that sear and that nice browning that looks pretty and that you like on your roasted chicken. Versus if you bake some chicken in the oven at 350, it's going to cook through. You might have those same seasonings on it that someone else who roasted it first and then maybe dropped the temperature a little bit. They got that nice crisp caramelization. Somebody will look at that picture like, it might not even be seasoned that good, but they, it look pretty, but, and your chicken is seasoned to perfection, but it looks rubbery because it was baked and,
it's light
and the juice is light and limpy. Yeah, so, sorry. You want to make sure that, so I think a part of plating is just making sure you're cooking the ingredients correctly and then laying them on the plate, a little dash of, I like to keep fresh herbs in the house. So like chopping up some scallions or chopping up some fresh parts, like on top of pasta, just grating some fresh Parmesan, not the kind that comes where we put on the pizza, but like the actual Parmesan block, or like Aldi's has these things, the shredded Parmesan that you can pick up.
Oh, yeah.
And it actually, that kind of Parmesan is good for garnishing, and so I think that makes a difference. Maybe, squeeze a little lemon on the end of I love using lemon. Lemon is something that I think is like so underrated when it comes to like cooking, squeezing it on top of your salad or squeezing it on the top of your chicken breast, adds so much flavor. Oh, and another thing, Serena, that you can use for salt substitute that I love, Worcestershire sauce. And add that to the pantry staple list. Worcestershire is amazing. It imparts so much flavor. It imparts so much flavor, and it just adds that little, if ever you're tasting something, it'd be like, something's missing. Add a dash of Worcestershire.
So I think we have gotten a lot of information so far, and we still have some more to go. But before we finish with Zita, we talked about, staples that we need in the house. We talked about pantry staples and all of that. But give us maybe 2-3 recipes that we can follow, during this quarantine. Maybe a quarantine date meal, or something. So if we're in the house together, we're married, we can, do something. Or if we're boyfriend and girlfriend, we can FaceTime each other and do these meals. So just give us, maybe 2 or 3 recipes that we can follow to put what you've taught us tonight to use.
Okay, so one in particular is, and it's become a fave, and it's my Sicilian chicken pasta. And I love this because it's a lot of fresh ingredients. So with the Sicilian chicken pasta, and if you don't like pasta, because I'm a low carb girl, I feel like carbs are for kids, and so I like tricks are for kids, carbs are for kids.
I like that.
It's not going to do our body right. So generally, I'm not a big pasta girl, but I love pasta. It's kind of like my guilty pleasure. But if you're going to be, you can also substitute this and use brown rice, cauliflower rice. So you can make a Sicilian chicken. It doesn't have to be pasta. It can be a Sicilian chicken rice bowl. And so what you want to have is you want to have a couple chicken breasts. Again, that seasoning mix that I said, those Pantry Staples with the garlic, all of that, season your chicken with that. Squeeze a little bit of lemon juice over the chicken.
Mm-hmm.
I would say squeeze the lemon juice and over the chicken before seasoning. So a little lemon juice and olive oil. Take your seasoning blend, season the chicken liberally. What I also like, if your chicken is thick, slice that chicken in half. Sometimes you buy those big breasts, and if you put the seasoning only on the top, that middle, and then sometimes it takes longer to cook. So if you know you have a thick chicken breast, I like to just slice it because it cooks quicker that way too. I'll slice it the long way to make 2 and use the chicken breast that way. Boil you some pasta noodles according to the package. Apply in your water, heavily use salt and then a little bit of oil in with the pasta. That's flavoring the pasta because pasta itself doesn't really have a taste. So when you liberally salt your water, so when we say liberally, I would say if you're doing a box of pasta, I would say at least maybe 3 tablespoons of salt.
Oh,
because it's getting in the water, but then it's going to absorb into the pasta. That might seem like a lot, but it really isn't. If you're using iodized, I would say 3. If you're using kosher, maybe 2. Yeah. Just depends on how much. Pasta you're cooking. Buy a jar of pesto sauce. They sell it at Aldi's. I love their brand, the Genovese or whatever they call it. It's in a little small jar with that green top.
Yeah.
Best pesto in the world, and it's cheap. So once your pasta comes out of the water, you're gonna take maybe 2 scoops of that, probably like half the jar, and you're gonna toss that into your pasta. While your pasta is cooking on your stove, you wanna take some olive oil, good olive oil. You wanna take some good olive oil and you want to simmer it down while the pasta is cooking, like in a small like saucepan almost. You're creating a sauce. Take another scoop of that same basil pesto that you tossed your noodles with and have that in that olive oil and just let it kind of sit with 2 garlic cloves. So fresh whole garlic cloves, and you just let it simmer. You don't want the heat to get up and start like boiling it. You know, like if it starts sizzling, like you about to fry some chicken, that's too hot. If it start popping, that oil, no, you don't, because you'll burn the garlic that way. So you just kind of want to let the garlic kind of sit, you know. And so as the pasta is cooking, then you take after you've seasoned your chicken breast, you want to take like a cup of mayo. And people are really so sleep on mayo. Mayo has so many, I feel like I want to do like it's like the secret ingredient. It's like the sleeper ingredient. It works for so many different things, but I love mayo for marinating meat. It is like, it tenderizes it, a little bit of mayo. And I know it's going to sound so crazy, but you don't taste the mayo. You don't see the mayo, but it imparts moisture and flavor. So you smear a little bit of mayo on the chicken breast. And now you've already seasoned them. You just smear a little bit on there so they're nice and white. Let that sit while the pasta's cooking. And then you can either sear the chicken breast in a pan, in a skillet. Just take you a skillet, and that oil, that same oil that you simmered on the stove, you can take a little bit of that, pour it in the skillet, and saute your chicken breasts until they're done, nice and brown. You want over like medium-high heat. Or what I love, a cast iron grill pan. I mean, it just gives it a nice char. You got those grill marks, again, heavy. You don't want one of those flimsy ones. If you have a good char grill pan, you get it nice and hot. And then you just sear that chicken breast on there, maybe 5 minutes each side. Again, you don't want the chicken breast to be too thick because you don't want to take all day trying to cook that chicken breast through. Once you do that, they have these nice, beautiful grill marks. You don't want to pick it up and turn it over too quick, because if you turn it over too quick, you won't have that nice charred, nice lines in it. So once you're done with that, you toss your pasta in the pesto. You are going to take a bag of frozen broccoli. And some people like mushrooms. You can omit the mushrooms, but my recipe does have mushroom. And I actually take the frozen broccoli from frozen in the small bag, and I put that, if you're using that skillet method where you're cooking the chicken in there, throw those vegetables right in there right after. So once you've cooked your chicken, set it off to the side, toss your broccoli, chop up some, I like using baby bella mushrooms, but whatever mushrooms you have on hand, you don't even have to really chop them. You can take the mushrooms and kind of break them up with your hand, just they're in little pieces, and saute it real quick, maybe 5 minutes until, again, we don't want the broccoli mushy until it's like to the tooth, like nice and al dente, as they call it. Once you've done that, add your veggies to your bowl of pasta. Your bowl of pasta is already coated in the pesto. Then you're gonna cut your chicken in strips, and you're gonna place that on the pasta. And then lastly, you're gonna take that oil, that little pot of oil that's been simmering with the garlic in it, and with the little bit of the pesto too. And now the oil has kind of gotten a little green, a little bit, and you're gonna just drizzle that over the pasta noodles. That's your sauce. So, and then you're gonna just toss everything together, garnish it with a little Parmesan cheese, chop up some fresh scallions. Scallions are green onions. For anybody that didn't know, that scallions are just green onions. Chop it up, and that's it. I know it sounds like a lot, but it really, really is not, and it's delicious. Absolutely delicious. And instead of pasta, like I said, boil you some brown rice, boil some, or even saute you up some cauliflower if you're gonna do the low carb way, and make a cauliflower, broccoli, Sicilian chicken bowl. So
Listen,
just
I haven't had dinner yet, and this sounds really good.
Really good. Faces. I'm like, am I explaining it okay? Because y'all like,
we hungry.
Yes, my taste, my what is it? I'm salivating. Yeah. Yeah.
I can
but you know what? I can smell it, I can taste it, oh, that one recipe is enough. Okay, because I think, everybody should go and do this Sicilian chicken pasta and go back and watch it. Now, will you be able to put the recipe online for people to?
Yeah. So how do you want me to do that, Pastor?
If you can, you can put it on the Winning Women Facebook page.
Okay, and I can just post right there.
Yep, you can post right there, and make sure you have your information so they can know where this is coming from. Okay.
Awesome.
This listen, first we got the meat of it, and then the residue made me hungry. I don't know if y'all hungry on this Facebook Live, but listen, I am hungry.
Somebody wrote the whole recipe. Oh,
somebody wrote the whole recipe down.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, she was right. She was doing real quick. Look at that. Oh yeah, she got a lot of it. She must be a stenographer. She took all of that down. Well, listen, I want to thank you so much, Zita. You have shared so many nuggets with us tonight. It's just from purpose to cooking. It's just been awesome. So I want, ladies, if you have enjoyed so far, if you have enjoyed Zita so far, just give her some claps, give her some love, give her something in the chat box you know. And if you're
Right.
still with us, we have more to go. We wanted to do like an hour, but we are at that hour mark. But listen, where you going? We all quarantined. So stay here. Don't drop off the live. We got some more goodies for you. But listen, in order for you to get those kitchen staples and to have the nice pots and pans and the food and the seasonings, you got to have some money. So this next part that we gonna talk about, she gonna help you with the budgeting. So Terez, I know it took a little bit of time to get to you, but listen,
It's okay.
I know you got some nuggets to share with us on budgeting. So
Yes.
we're gonna let Terez loose. Tell us all about you and Al's, Pastor Al's, endeavors with your YouTube. Give us a little bit about yourself, and then tell us what you're gonna share with us, and we'll have questions and all that. I got some questions first, but I'll just wait. You might answer them before I even get to answer or ask it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. So my name is Terez Jones. I'm a CPA. My husband and I have a YouTube page called Keeping Up with the Joneses, where we give tips about budgeting and paying off debt, because we paid off $64,000 worth of debt in 28 months.
My God.
Say that again. Say that again.
We paid off $64,000 in 28 months. So that's my background on budgeting, because budgeting is key. That is the only way we got through those 28 months, paying off that much debt. So yes. So tonight I was gonna go over budgeting, give some budgeting tips. If you're living on the edge and you don't have a budget, I'm gonna go over how to get started. And if you're already about that budget life, I'm just gonna give you some tips that we've learned on our journey of paying off all that debt. So I just wanted to start off and just say, if you don't manage your money, the lack of money will always manage you. So the key to managing your money is budgeting. Make a budget. I mean, anybody can write a budget down, so that's the easier part of it. The hard part is sticking to it. So to manage your money, you first get your budget and then you stick to it. So I don't know about y'all. I didn't grow up with parents that had a budget and stuck to it. I didn't see them writing out a budget every month, so I didn't learn it from them. So this is something that we had to learn on our own. So right now, the internet is just, there's so much information on the internet, so you really can't blame previous generations on what they didn't show you, what you didn't see. It's like all this information is at your fingertips. So I mean, you're on this live now, so so you're taking a step in the right direction and getting all this information you need to manage your money. So thanks for tuning in. So yeah, so just to get started, if you're not budgeting, I just want to go through some steps on how to get started. So the first step that we did to set our budget was to set our financial goals. Having your goal in mind is what keeps you centered and keeps you focused when one day you just wake up and it's like, I don't feel like sticking to the budget. I'd rather just go buy a bag and just YOLO. So financial goals is, yes. Some days it's just like, it just be like that sometimes, but your goals, that's what keeps you centered and keeps you focused on your budget. So some examples of goals that you may keep in mind on in your budgeting is paying off debt. Like that was our financial goal. We want to free up debt because we rather earn interest than pay interest. Because when you're paying debt to someone else, not only are you paying back what you borrowed, but you're also paying back interest. So I'd rather earn interest than pay interest. So that's why our goal was to pay off debt. Another financial goal that you may set for yourself may be to save for large purchases, whether you want to buy a car, a house. These things take money and it takes time to save for them. So if you wanted to purchase a car without going into debt, you would need to save for that purchase. So that'd be another financial goal that you would have in mind when you're budgeting. Another financial goal could be building an emergency fund. If you don't already have an emergency fund, that would be something that you would need to put in your list of financial goals. Most people say 3 to 6 months of expenses, so that's what we agree with as well. Or you may need to save for your children's college funds. I know my parents didn't have a college fund for me, but that's not an excuse for me not to save for my children. So we're going to stop that with me, and start it so I can save for my children. So, and then another financial goal may be saving for retirement. Because I know we don't want to work forever. I mean, personally, I want to start working at 55. I'm not trying to work till I die. So if I want to retire at 55, I need to start saving now for the future. So once you got your financial goal in mind, the next step is to track your expenses. That's a very important part of budgeting. So it's how would you be able to know what numbers to put in your budget if you don't know exactly what you're spending? So in order to track your spending, you can look at the previous 3 months of expenses on your bank statement, your credit card, or if you use cash a lot, you would need to keep your receipts so that you can track every dime that is going out of your hand. And once you've tracked your expenses, that is what you would use to fill in your budget, because then you'll know exactly what you have going out, what utilities you have, what subscriptions is coming out of your account, a better estimate of what you need for gas, an estimate of how much you need for food. So just tracking your expenses or looking at what you spent your money the past 3 months, that's what helps you come up with those numbers for your budget. You don't want to just pull something out of the air, because then that'll be hard to stick to. So looking at a history of your spending is what will help you.
That's the scariest part, Terez, is going back and looking at what you have done.
It's an eye opener.
Why can't you just buy all the gas you want? I got a budget for gas. I'm not. You gotta go where you gotta
budget
go.
Everything. Yeah, well, I have a line for budget. I budget everything. Everything is budgeted. I know gas prices fluctuate, so that's one thing that you would need to revisit in your budget every month. Because I know my husband and I, we sit together and we have a budget meeting every month. So it's like right now, gas prices are low and we're not really going anywhere. So I think I've only filled the tank up once in the past month. So it's like the gas line is kind of low. So that's why you need to revisit your budget every so often. I say monthly, but however often you think you need to go through it. What else? So tracking your expenses, it helps you not leave anything out as well. Because I know sometimes you'll sign up for like HBO because there's some show that you want to watch, and then you plan on canceling it when your show is over. And then it's like, lo and behold, you look at your credit card statements, your bank statements, like there it is. Like, oh, I forgot to cancel it. So
3 years ago.
So yeah. So yeah, they're not gonna remind you. So so yeah, that's another
every time.
Yep. So yeah, that's another reason why looking at your bank statements, your credit card statements, that'll really help you see what needs to be in your budget or remind you of what needs to get cut off. So the third step would be to make a zero-based budget. So that means every cent that comes into your hand, you give it a purpose, you give it an assignment. So that doesn't mean every cent that comes in your hand, you spend it. That just means every cent that comes in your hand, you plan for it. So everything that you spend, save, give, that equals the income coming in. So if you make $3,000, your budget should be for $3,000 so that every dollar has a purpose. And then there's so many tools that you can use for budgeting. There's apps like Every Dollar Mint. I think even some banks, their online banking website has different budgeting tools that you can use. You can use Excel or Google Sheets or good old paper and pencil. I know I like Excel, but I'm an accountant, so I'm really good at Excel. And at the top of your paper or your app or your Excel sheet, you would list all the sources of income. And if you have a job, your salary or your wages, if you have a side hustle, any money that you have coming in for that would be listed. Alimony, child support, anything you have coming in, you want it in your budget so that you can plan for it. You don't want to just say, well, whatever money I have for this, I'm just going to waste it. I'm just going to blow it. No, you want to plan for every dollar that you have coming in.
There's no free
So
money.
No, not if you're serious about reaching your financial goals. Like, you have to be serious. So every dollar counts. And then after you have all your income listed, then we will go to expenses. We start off with the necessities, so ties, mortgage, utilities, food, things like that. And then you will move into like more personal expenses, your debt payments. And then I leave financial goals for the last section, because we use everything that's left for our financial goals, whether that's saving, all the financial goals we went over already, paying off debt, large purchases, emergency funds, retirement savings. It's like, that's what that last pool is for. So once you set your budget, you'll get a good idea of what you have to work with for these financial goals. And if this financial goal amount isn't what you expected it to be, if it's negative, once you get down to that one, that just lets you know that you have too many expenses. Something needs to go. And this is where you need to get your priorities in order. Is watching cable TV more important than saving for retirement? Is it more important than your child's college fund? Like, you got to get your priorities in order. So that'll be the eye opener for real.
Wow.
And after you have your budget together, you have your income, your expenses, you see what's left over for your financial goals, and you gave name to every dollar that came in. Once you start spending, because you have your budget, first there's budgeting and then there's actually spending it. So you want to compare your budget to what was spent. Because if you go over in an area, well, something else has to get cut back so you can make up for that overage, or your account's going to be negative. Or you'll dig into your financial goals. So you won't be able to save as much because you spent $300 over your dining out budget.
That's a lot.
Goodness.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, what about my gas money?
You said, what about what?
My extra gas money. Gas down now. I got some extra gas money.
Given an assignment.
So I can. So with my extra gas money, I can eat out.
If that's what you plan on doing with your extra,
you sound like a little. She sound like that was a good idea. She like,
Hey,
what's your advice?
Hey, everybody's in a different situation, but if you're trying to pay off debt, or if you don't have an emergency fund, I wouldn't suggest eating it. I would suggest putting it towards your financial goals. But if you have a certain amount of if you have a certain percentage going to retirement, you have a certain percentage going to your child's college fund, you have your emergency fund, do what you want.
Okay, but wait,
that extra gas money.
Wait, Terez. Okay, so let's say I have all my bills. You rough, man.
I know, right?
Do I get to have play money in there, like fun money, entertainment, like recreational?
Oh yeah, yes.
Even if that's a part of the budget.
Yes, you have to budget it. That's the part of it. One of my tips would be to have a realistic budget. You can't not budget dining out, and you dine out at least once a week. I mean, you will blow your budget the first week. So that is a must. Definitely budget dining out, play money, all that needs to be budgeted.
Okay. There's a question from the live. It says, do you suggest not spending money on any recreational things before you save 6 months of expenses?
I'm not gonna give anybody advice that I wouldn't follow. I know even on our 28-month journey of paying off our debt, yes, we said no to a lot of things, but you will get burnt out really quick if you're all work and no play. Like, we do work really hard, so sometimes you do need to treat yourself. Like, if you had a really good month, you stayed on budget. I mean, budget yourself X amount of dollars to treat yourself to a mani-pedi or going out with your girlfriends for brunch. I mean, as long as you budget for it, I don't see a problem with it. A problem is if your play money and you treating yourself is stopping you from achieving your financial goals. Because then you would need to reassess, reevaluate your priorities and get back on track.
So another question that we had was, I know you're an accountant, and so people, maybe they've never done a budget ever.
Mm-hmm.
So is it ever too late to start a budget?
It's never too late. It's never too late. Start today. Start with the money you have in your pocket, the money that you have in your account. Like, give it a name, and from this day forward, every dollar that you spend, you won't spend it unless it's part of your plan, unless it's already what you planned or budgeted to spend it on.
So this budgeting takes discipline then.
Yes, it does. And I mean, in the beginning, you may have some months where you're way off, or you budgeted $50 for gas when you really need $250. So it's just you like, I know Lifeline is saying, in Lifeline we say a lot, you never lose, you either win or you learn, but you never lose. So it's like that month you learned that you need to up your gas budget, so you just make the tweaks to your budget that month. You learn from all the mistakes that you made that month, and you keep it moving.
Yanni?
Do you suggest paying off debt during this time or saving?
I would suggest saving. The governor just extended the stay-at-home order for another 30 days. So it's like the future is just unknown. You don't know. There's nothing wrong with putting your money in the account, and then once the stay-in-place order is lifted, you're able to return to work, and your income is flowing like it normally does. You can take what you save and put it towards your debt. So it's like, it's not like you're just throwing out the window during this time because of the pandemic. It's just saving for now, just in case something else happens. I don't know. Maybe he'll extend it another 30 days. I don't know what's going to happen. So that's what we've been doing. We've just been saving as much as we can.
Now, on when you're mentioning savings, there are a lot of challenges out there. I know Yanni was telling us about a challenge where she would put up, what was it, $5 a week? She would put up that
every $5 I received.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Every $5 you receive. And then I was sharing how what we do for vacation is when we come back from vacation, any loose change that we have, we put it in a jar and just continue putting that in for the next year's vacation.
That's
now,
good.
do you suggest, or do you think those challenges are good ways to save? Or what would be, if not, what would be some good ways to save?
I think those are really good ways to save. It kind of spices it up instead of just making transfers to savings. You could still do transfers to savings, but these are additional ways to save. And the jar of change, like you mentioned, gets your children involved as well. And they can see you doing it. They may not see you transfer money to savings, but they'll see you putting that change in a jar and see you saving and planning for your vacation in the future. So that's a seed that you'll be planting for your children as well. So I think those are great ideas.
Question: what's a good template? A template to budget to get started, like a template for an emergency fund, a template for a big purchase, like what are how are you setting all that up? Am I asking it right?
Like a budgeting template, or just how to start saving for those large purchases?
So like, you mean if you want to buy a house or something, like how would they start the project of saving money for a house? Is that what you're
Okay, the question is actually from Consuela. So Consuela, can you give us more information? But I was thinking
she might have been thinking like a spreadsheet maybe, or tracking.
That's what I was thinking too. I was thinking,
yeah.
I was thinking like an app or a spreadsheet, or yeah.
There's app there. If she wants to budget, there's budgeting apps. If she just wants to track how much she's saving towards the house, you can have an Excel sheet, and every time you put X amount of dollars in your savings account that's related to your house fund, you can put the date and the amount you put in there, so you can track what amount your savings accounts for your house, what amount is for your car, what amount is for your emergency fund. So you'll know where you are in the process. So you're not spending emergency fund on other large purchases. So you can keep them separate if you don't have multiple bank accounts. But yeah, and if she was referring to a budget spreadsheet, Alfred and I just released a video last week where we used a budgeting spreadsheet, and I can email it to her.
Oh, yeah. I think that's what she was looking for. Yeah.
I think so
Okay.
too.
Okay, I'll reach out to her on Facebook.
Now, you mentioned children, and I know last week we talked about, just the ladies. We're going to talk about the ladies, but we ended up talking about the children because they are a part of us. But what are some other things that we can do to teach children how to budget? Because I know for my boys, sometimes they think money grows on trees. And so one of them is a saver and one of them is a spender. Every nickel that comes in his hand, he just blows it, and he figured, hey, I don't need, he didn't say it out of his mouth, I don't need to save. So what are some tools or things that we can get for children of all ages? You start, like I said, they can see the money in the jar, they can see that part. But what are some other things maybe, parents can use to help their children know that no, money doesn't grow on trees?
Yeah, sure. I know some people, they give allowances to their children. They're just giving them allowance because they love them. Some people, it's like, if you do this chore, I'll give you X amount of dollars. So that shows them that how to get money as you work. You provide a service. That's how it happens in the real world. People don't just give you money. You have to work for it. And then if they want to buy something that's kind of expensive, like a new game or something, you could tell them, if they save up half the money for the game or whatever they want, the new shoes or whatever, you will provide the other half, and then they'll appreciate it more because they had to work. And if they want to get the money faster, you could wash these walls, you could do these baseboards, and I can give you some more money so you can get it faster.
The wall and a baseboard?
Girl, yeah, they get dusty. They need to be
baseboard. Wait. Would they get money for cooking?
I said my kids do that now.
Yeah.
Hey, start them young.
Child labor law.
I need to rethink what's happening here.
It's like once every 2 weeks.
They need to earn their keep.
Pastor London, cooking should count. Cooking should count.
Cooking should count. Yeah,
they can make money. Yeah.
So they paying their room and board
from cooking. Look at them. They making money.
Cleaning.
Yes, all of it.
They need a representative over there.
You gonna be their labor,
a little labor union.
Right.
I know y'all saw Jaden come in the door. He's like, Mom, you almost done because the food's not ready.
Oh, what he cooking?
They're cooking Parmesan chicken with garlic knots and pasta.
He made his garlic knots.
He made some garlic knots.
That should count. That should count towards him being involved. Look at him.
So I should give him some money.
Terez, should he get money? She's like,
I don't know. That's what's the Pastor London. I know sometimes some things it's just, this is the least you can do.
You can't ask Terez. Terez hard with it. She's like, at least
how we do.
Terez, he cooked the whole meal though.
Tip the chef.
You can give him a tip.
I'm gonna give him a tip, all right. Don't be yellow. Tip for.
Zita, should he get paid? He should get paid, right, Zita?
I think a little tip would be good. Encourage him. Keep going.
Encourage us, keep going. Okay.
Yeah, encourage is hard. Yeah.
I see, because they have been cooking. They have been cooking. So
that's good.
Okay.
Tell him to try that Sicilian pasta. He'll love that.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him the recipe. Now, Terez, you mentioned that budget spreadsheet. Some people are asking if you can email it. I don't know how that works, if you can put it on the page or I don't know how we can do that.
Can you list it on your YouTube so they can go back to you guys?
Sure.
Put the link to the spreadsheet on your YouTube page. What's your YouTube page again for those that were just getting on?
It's called We Are the Joneses. In the video that we just released Sunday, it goes through how we use that spreadsheet for our budgeting. So you need to watch that as well so you'll know how to use it.
Okay, so she'll put, so ladies, I know a couple of you have asked about the spreadsheet. Go to We Are the Joneses YouTube page, subscribe today, and she'll have that that spreadsheet on there for you all. So
And I guess we could put it on our page too if we do it under the file section. We
Yeah.
can have it in both places.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
see, I don't know how to work all that stuff. I just be on here.
Send it to you guys.
Okay. Now, is there anything else you want to say in closing about budgeting?
Sure. Yeah, I had a couple of tips just to share with the people who are already budgeting, things that we've learned through this process of paying off our debt. One thing is it's okay to say no. I know you've heard this before. No is a complete sentence. So if you budgeted X amount of dollars for dining out, for entertainment for May, let's say you budgeted $150. If you spent that by May 10th, you need to say no for the rest of the month, or else your budget will be worthless. You gotta stick to it. If $150 is not enough for you, you have to reevaluate what your priorities are. If you have all your emergency funds and your savings accounts all in order, you can up your entertainment budget. But if you don't, that's more important than going to brunch. Another tip that I have is redefine what emergency means as it relates to your money. So you have an emergency fund in place. You can't dip into it because it's Christmas. Christmas is not an emergency. It's on the same day every year. You have to save for it. You need new tires. That's not an emergency. I think there's a normal maintenance schedule for your car. So it's like, certain things are coming up, you need to save for it. You can't just let your emergency fund just be the fall person for everything that you failed to plan for. So it's like, is it a true emergency or did you just not plan for it? So, because I know the Bible, it says,
go ahead and read the Bible, go.
It says in Proverbs 21:20 in the Amplified, there is precious treasure and oil in the house of the wise who prepare for the future, but a short-sighted and foolish man swallows it up and wastes it. The NLT says the fools spend whatever they get. So it's like you have to prepare for the future. Wise people prepare for the future.
Wow. Mic drop.
Fools spend whatever they get. Ooh.
Yeah, it's in the Bible. I didn't say it.
Hey.
I remember, Terez, when I was getting ready to move, and like months beforehand, you were like, if you don't have an emergency fund set up, hold the brakes, like don't do anything yet. Make sure you have enough of a savings, a general savings, and an emergency fund. Yes. And now, honestly, because of that, I don't have to worry so much because I prep before making a big financial move like that. So
that's good.
That was some good.
Yes. Shout out to you for following through.
Wait, okay. Question. Earlier you were saying like set up an emergency, not emergency, but you were saying plan to buy a car. So yes. I shouldn't just go down and get the lease and
no.
So face is like absolutely not. I ain't going.
So we've paid off all this debt. So we wouldn't, if we need a new car, we wouldn't just go down to a dealership and get right back into debt. Our plan is to stay out of debt. So if you should know when you need to buy another car. I don't know if you need a new car. If you like to buy cars every 5 to 10 years, then you need to save for it. So just like you pay your car note like $350, $400 a month, you would need to pay $350, $400 to your bank account. The difference between you paying that to the car dealer and then you paying that to your bank account, something happens, you have all this money in the bank that you've been saving for your car and you could just dip into that if you need it. But if something happens and you have a car note, you can't just tell Kia or BMW, I can't pay my car note. I have something else to do. They want their money. They want their money or they'll be in front of your house with a tow truck. So
pretty much.
Yeah, you have to plan. You have to plan for those purchases. I know Alfred needs a car. He has a 2005 Cadillac SRX. So we've been putting money in our account, planning for him to buy a car next year. So instead of going and getting a car loan, we've been putting the money in our account so that we could just go and pay for it in cash. The cash just doesn't come out anywhere. You have to save for it over time.
I think the issue with us is we want stuff right away.
Yeah.
We don't want to be patient because it sounds so good to, instead of paying that $350 plus interest to the car dealer place, you wait a while, you pay yourself $350, then you take them cash. Cash is king. You can even get a cheaper price on that car if you taking them cash. But
take them all them $100 bills.
Yeah, the problem is we want it right away. We want it right away. So patience and self-control is a very good thing when you're talking about budgeting and, you know, getting out of debt and all that stuff. So that was, well, thank you so much. This was so good. Listen, I think people, we always say, or we say at church, you know, 2 things people want a lot of, but they don't want to talk about, and that's money and sex. So we talking about money, especially during this time. You don't have anywhere to go, anywhere to be. You shouldn't be spending your money. Even this stimulus check, if you've gotten it, you should put that into your budget as income and, you know, say what you're going to do with it. But we have to make sure that we are even following through on our finances. Because if we don't, after this pandemic is up, we'll be in trouble. So I like one thing she said, and she was on, not this past Wednesday, but the Wednesday before, her and Al were on with us, and they were talking about how you don't know what's gonna happen. So you save, you even save that stimulus check, because you don't know if you're working right now, you don't know what happens with your job. And if you spent everything, if you've been a fool and spent everything that came into your hands, you're gonna see that once we come out of this pandemic. So all of this information, not just the cooking, but the finances, this is some very valuable information that you can take. These tools that we have, you know, discussed tonight, you can take these tools, use them, and you can see fruit in your life, just like you did, you know, last week. You took the tools and you saw fruit. Just take these tools and you will see the fruit in your life. So we're coming on next week. We're talking about organizing your closet with Sharetta. And we're doing DIY projects with Shani Mar. So we're going to have some more fun. These are things that we can do to kind of take our minds off of the whole situation and what's going on. Because with this extension, I was looking at like 30 more days. Lord, what is going on? Now, I'm a homebody. I like to be in the house, but this is even a lot for me. So even as we come on, you know, we've been coming on every Friday. Well, this is our second Friday that we've come on. We're trying to bring you things that will kind of lighten up your load, lighten up the mood while giving you valuable tips. So if you've still been on here from the beginning, you've learned something about cooking with Zita, you've learned something about budgeting with Terez, just give them some shout outs on Facebook, on our website, on YouTube. Just give them some shout outs and just let them know, hey, job well done. Give them some hearts, give them some likes. And so we just want to make sure that we are serving you, the winning women, not just of Lifeline Church, but if you're not a part of our church, you're a winning woman, and we want to help you win in every area of your life. So tonight we helped you win in cooking, and we helped you win in budgeting. Next week we're gonna help you organize that closet, and I think you can probably make some money and put it to your budget as income when you organize that closet. So it's all working together for our good. Amen. It's all working together. So I want Zita, if you can say one, last word, just kind of give a shout out again for your business and how they can reach you and all of that stuff. Just do that before we leave, before we get off of here.
Thank you guys so much. I'm sorry I had to do some cooking. I'm helping a friend of mine.
I see you.
But we're testing out some new recipes. But you can reach me at Zita Cooks, at Zita Cooks on Facebook, also at Zita Cooks on Instagram, or you can message me on my personal page, Zita Monique Stevens, and I'll be posting the recipe for the Sicilian chicken pasta on the Winning Women site, as well as the other 2 recipes that I was going to share with you guys. And I'm glad this was fun. I'm glad I was able to get on and to share some things. I know it was a lot of information, but I'm hoping that
It was helpful and a blessing. And the Lord really came in on that part in the beginning with sharing my testimony. So I'm grateful for that.
Yes. Terez, tell them again how they can reach you. We want to make sure that the people that we're putting up, we want to make sure that they're contacting you and getting this information, not just from, this hour and a half that we've been on tonight, but they might have some other questions for you. So how can they reach you?
Sure. We have an Instagram page. It's called The Joneses 11. And then we also have a YouTube channel called We Are the Jones, Keeping Up with the Joneses. Sorry. But yeah, you can reach out to us either way.
Okay. So listen, tonight has been, in my opinion, just amazing. Kay, you say amazing just the best way. Come on, give me an amazing.
Amazing.
It's just been amazing. It's amazing. So listen, next week we'll be here, same time, same place. We're doing Organizing Our Closet with Sharetta, and we're doing DIY projects with Shani Mar. So make sure you come on next week. And then after we finish this live, go back and share it. I didn't say that in the beginning. Share it, start a watch party. You can still do that. And if you missed some tips, if you missed the recipes, you can go back and listen to it. And I know you got a girlfriend that should have been on this live. Just tell her, go to the Winning Women page and, listen back to it and catch us next week. And if you feel so inclined, if you've had a good time, you've gotten some valuable information, you can always sow a seed. So we have several ways at Lifeline Church that you can give. And so if you give it online, you can make sure that you give to Winning Women Ministry, okay? So, ladies, tonight, like I said, has been amazing. And I want to thank my team that's on here. We have Sharetta, Serena, Yanni, Tiffany, and Kay. These are the part of our Winning Women team, and we have just been planning the best time for you. So we pray and we know that you have enjoyed yourselves tonight. So get some good sleep. Sleep on these tips. And when you go out, we go out once a week grocery shopping. So when you go out, make sure you're getting those staple things for your kitchen. And Zita's going to also let us know those, measurements again, because I didn't quite get them for that seasoning. That's I like that right there. And then you go to Terez's page, go to her YouTube, and get that budgeting spreadsheet. Don't just take this hour and a half for granted. These were some valuable tools that you can use to win in every area of your life. Don't forget to post your selfies on our Winning Women Facebook page. Yanni, give them the hashtags again.
WW Girl Chats and LC Winning Women.
All right. So ladies, if that's all, nobody else has anything to say on this Zoom, Facebook, live stream, we're going to say peace out. Bye. We love you. I love you. I love you. I love you.